Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mrs. Wensley. Remember that the first thing I want you to do is put your name, today's date, and your block number at the top of your paper. Second thing I want you to look at today is the title. 8.3 is areas of circles. Your I can statement is I can find areas of circles and semicircles. Your essential question is how can you find the area of a circle? First thing we're going to do is look at the definition. The area of a circle in word form, the area which is represented by a capital A of a circle is the product of pi, I spelled it out and used the symbol there, and the square of the radius. The algebraic form is A equals pi times r squared. If you need to put a multiplication sign between the pi and the r squared for it to make more sense to you, that is totally fine. Please feel free to do that. But also know that when two variables are put next to each other right like this, that means multiplication. Now we're going to estimate the area of a circle using 22 over 7 for pi and the above equation for area. So we're going to use A equals pi r squared. So A equals 22 divided by 7 times your radius, which is 7 squared. 7 squared is 7 times 7. I'm going to do 22 over 7 times 49 over 1. Now if we move up here, we're going to multiply straight across. 22 times 49, which is 1078, divided by 7 times 1, which is 7. This is about 154 centimeters squared. You have to have the squared on this because anytime you find area, it is squared because we squared the radius. So the area is about 154 centimeters squared. Now if we look at this one, finding the area of a semicircle using 3.14 for pi. But now we are given the diameter, the entire distance across the circle. So first I'm going to write down my equation. A equals pi times radius squared. So I know I need radius and I have diameter. So I'm going to think back to when I learned about radius and diameter. And I remember that radius is half of the diameter. So if this is 26 inches, I'm going to say that my r equals 26 divided by 2. 26 divided by 2 is 13. So we're going to say A equals 3.14 times 13 squared divided by, oops, not divided by, we did our division up there, equals 3.14 times 169, which is about 530.66. So the area is about 530.66 inches squared. So I rewrite the equation every time so I remember which equation I'm working with. And then I remember what I need to find. For here I had to find the radius because I was given the diameter. This one up here, I did not have to find the radius because it already gave it to me. Alright, now I would like you to try these, to pause the video and try these two on your own problems using the equation of A equals pi times radius squared. You can use either form of pi, 3.14 or 22 divided by 7. The choice is yours. All right, now welcome back from that brief break. We are now going to look at different ways that we can see this applied in real life. So if we look at the tires of a truck, you want to find the distance of the monster truck. You want to find the distance the monster truck travels when the tires make a 360-degree rotation. So the distance the truck travels after one rotation is the same as the distance around the tire. So the circumference of the tire best describes the distance in one rotation. So if you're driving down the road and your tires and the tires on your car go around one time, however far forward you move, that's how far around the tire is. So if it's 5 feet around, every 5 feet, your tire goes around again, and around and around. Knowing that, I would like you to decide if this is going to be diameter or radius or circumference. You want to find the height of one of the tires. So from this edge to this edge, which measurement would best describe the height? Please pause the video and try that problem on your own. All right, welcome back. Now we're going to look at finding the area of a semicircle. The orchestra pit here is a semicircle. The diameter here is 30 feet. Our equation for finding the area of a semicircle is the same as regular area, just divided by 2, also known as multiplied by 1/2. A equals, so the area of the orchestra pit is 1/2 the area of the circle with a diameter of 30 feet. So A equals pi times radius squared divided by 2. So we have our diameter, which equals 30 feet. We want to know our radius, which is going to be 30 divided by 2 feet, which is going to be 15 feet. Now we're just going to plug our numbers in. So pi, I'm going to use 3.14. (15) squared divided by 2, which equals 3.14 times 225 divided by 2. 3.14 times 225. I'll give you a moment to try to figure that out. Alright, you should have gotten 706.5 divided by 2 for an answer of about 353.25 feet squared. So the area of the orchestra pit is about 353 and 1/4 or 0.25 feet squared. So it's still area, so we still have to do our answer squared. So that's what you should have for the entire problem. When you are ready, please continue the video and move on to example 2. Example 2, once again we use a equals pi times radius squared divided by 2. We have the distance all the way across here, which is 8. So the distance all the way across, the diameter is 8. We want the radius. It's going to be 8 divided by 2. It's going to be 4. So we're going to do a equals 3.14 times 4 squared divided by 2. This equals 3.14 times 16, 4 times 4 is 16, divided by 2. Then I would like you to try to figure out what 3.14 times 16 is. Please take a moment to do so. You should get 50.24 divided by 2. It's going to equal 25.12 meters squared. Now if you flip the paper over, you see that there are 2 on your own problems. Please try that using the equation a equals pi times r squared divided by 2. When you're finished with that, you'll see that attached to your notes packet is your exit ticket. However, Mrs. Wensley goofed up and put it on there twice. So instead of cutting it in half like I had planned to do and stapling them on, I just ran them through the printer all together, and so you have 2 copies of it. So please just do one, rip it off the back of your packet, and turn it in. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Okay, so now we're going to go over the on your own problems. Find the area of a circle with the radius of 6 feet. Use 3.14 for pi. So we're going to use a equals pi. Yes, I do want you to rewrite it every time because it will help you memorize it. Times radius squared. A equals 3.14 times radius is 6 feet, 6 squared. It's going to be 3.14 times 6 times 6 is 36. Now we want to figure out 3.14 times 36. You should have already figured it out. But in case you didn't, you should have gotten that A is about 113.04 feet squared. The reason why we keep saying about as well for area is because we're using pi, and pi is not an exact measurement. So because it's not an exact measurement, we cannot say it is exactly this amount. Because if you go through and you use 22 divided by 7, you'll see that it's a little bit different, but super similar. So now we're going to find the area of a circle with a diameter of 28 meters. So we have A equals pi times radius squared. We have our diameter, which is 28 meters. We want our radius, which is going to be 28 divided by 2, which is 14 meters. So I hope you were able to at least get that far. Then what we need to do is we need to multiply everything through. So then we have A equals 22 divided by 7. I have to use this one this time because that's what the directions say. Times radius, which is 14, squared, divided by 1. Because every number is over 1. This is going to equal 22 divided by 7 times 196 over 1. If we multiply straight across, you're going to multiply 22 by 196, and you should get 4,312 over 7 times 1, which is 7. That is going to be about, because right now we're going to do 4,312 divided by 7. You should get about 616 meters squared. So even if you weren't able to get to this point, I hope you were able to write down the equation, know the diameter, and figure out the radius. Now moving down to the bottom of this page, you want to find the height of one of the tires. Which measurement would best describe the height? That would be the diameter, would be straight across from one edge to the other, so it best describes the height of the tire. I'm not going to leave this up here very long, so you need to pause the video if you do not have this down. Now the next page was our 2 examples, and the last page was on your own problems. This one right here, we have 5 yards. So you have A equals pi r squared divided by 2 because we have a semicircle. This goes to 3.14 times r squared. So we know our diameter, I'm going to write it up here, is 5. So our radius is 5 divided by 2, which equals 2.5. So you can do 3.14 times 2.5 squared divided by 2. So it's going to be 3.14 times 2.5 squared. I'll give you a moment to figure out 2.5 squared. .5 times 2.5. You should get that it's 6.25. And divide that whole thing by 2. 3.14 times 6.25. You should get 19.625. We still have to divide that by 2 though. So you should get 9.8125 yards squared. Once again, I hope you were at least able to figure out the diameter and the radius over here, and then tried to plug the numbers in and solve the problem. As long as you are trying to do this, that is our goal today, is that we can figure out how to do it. If you don't try, then how are you going to know if you know how to do it? You won't. So over here we have halfway across the circle is 11. Halfway across the circle is our radius. So this time we don't have to figure out what our radius is. So we have A equals pi r squared divided by 2. So A equals 3.14 times 11 squared divided by 2. Which is going to equal 3.14 times 121 divided by 2. Which equals 379.94 divided by 2, which is about 189.97 centimeters squared. If you have any questions about these, please raise your hand at this time. Have a good day. Now is the time to move on to your recorded practice journal page.
Yeah, white walls, straight halls, back door where the city it calls, black flow underneath my fall, black flow gonna keep us all, lifeless critic in a black grenade, like this is fist try to brag, time up, don't speak, all the crew lined up.